The Rolex you want costs $15,000 at list. On the gray market, it is double. And the waiting list? Measured in years. But here is the part no dealer will tell you. 5 watches exist right now that beat Rolex on engineering, finishing, and real-world value. You can walk in and buy every single one today. This is the list they do not want you to see. Before the watches, you need to know the rules. Every watch on this list clears 5 hurdles, no exceptions. Craftsmanship. If it does not look sharp under a macro lens and feel sharp in the hand, it is out. Movement. We are talking in-house calibers, certified accuracy, real power reserve, and documented robustness, not brochure claims. Heritage. A watch without a story is just an accessory. Every contender here has genuine milestones behind its name. Wearability. It has to work in real life, under a cuff, in the water, from jeans to a jacket. Availability. If you cannot walk in and buy it, the specs do not matter. The best luxury is not about chasing scarcity. It is about choosing what fits your life without games. Every watch on this list clears all 5. Number 5. Cartier Santos de Cartier Medium. Design credibility that is over a century old, and bracelet engineering that makes Rolex look behind the times. In 1904, aviator Alberto Santos Dumont asked Louis Cartier for a watch he could read while flying. The result was the world's first purpose-built pilot's wristwatch. The square case, exposed bezel screws, and Roman numerals are not styling choices. They are signatures that have survived 122 years, copied endlessly, never equaled. The modern Santos Medium sits at around 35 millimeters wide and under 9 millimeters thick. It disappears under a cuff and handles 100 meters of water resistance for genuine daily use. Here is where Rolex cannot keep up. Quick Switch lets you swap the bracelet for a strap in seconds with no tools. SmartLink lets you resize the bracelet links at home by pressing a hidden pusher, no watchmaker, no push pin. On a Rolex, you are either at the dealer's bench or doing it yourself with steady hands and crossed fingers. It sits at number 5, for an honest reason. The in-house 1847 MC caliber is reliable but not exceptional, with around 40 hours of power reserve and no certified accuracy claims. The Santos wins on design, prestige, and usability. The next 4 go harder on what is inside the case. Speaking of what is inside, number 4 is Rolex DNA without the Rolex price tag or the Rolex theater. Number 4, Tudor Black Bay, 54. Hans Wilsdorf, the man who built Rolex, founded Tudor in 1926 with a single brief: Rolex-level robustness at a price people could actually reach. That bloodline runs through every Black Bay. The Black Bay 54 is 37 millimeters, which sounds small until it is on the wrist. That proportion is exactly what made vintage Submariners wearable in the 1950s. It sits flat, tucks under cuffs, and never shouts. For anyone who finds the current Submariner's 41mm frame a touch too much, this is the answer. Inside is Tudor's manufacture caliber MT5400, built at Kinesi, a facility Rolex Co. owns. It is certified by COSC, silicon hairspring, 70-hour power reserve. It is tuned to between -2 and +4 seconds per day, tighter than the COSC standard tolerance, and similar to Rolex's published figures for the Submariner. 200 meters of water resistance, and a T-fit clasp for toolless micro adjustment. It is on the shelf at your Tudor authorized dealer right now for roughly half what a new Submariner lists at, and a fraction of gray market pricing. Available. The Black Bay 54 sits at number 4 because it plays closest to Rolex on Rolex's own terms. Number 3 opens a technical gap. That gap is not subtle, because the next watch holds an independent certification that puts it through a harder, more transparent test than Rolex publicly discloses. Number 3, Omega Seamaster Diver 300M. Not just the Bond watch. The lab-certified Tech Flex that makes Rolex sweat. Caliber 8800, coaxial escapement, 55 hours of power reserve. But the certification is where Omega separates. Master chronometer, tested by Metis, Switzerland's independent federal institute. Every cased watch is tested in 6 positions, across temperature variation and after exposure to 15,000 Gauss of magnetic force. Accuracy through all of that is 0 to plus 5 seconds per day. Here is the context. Most mechanical luxury watches, including many Rolex references, begin losing accuracy around 1,000 Gauss. Your iPhone generates around 3 Gauss. An MRI machine runs up to 30,000 Gauss. The Seamaster Diver 300M sits in a different league, using silicon components in the movement. No soft iron inner case, no hidden shields, just engineering. Full ceramic bezel. Laser-engraved wave dial that only reveals itself under magnification. Helium escape valve at 10 o'clock. 300 meters of water resistance. On the wrist since 1995 in every Bond film, equal parts technical powerhouse and pop culture icon. Walk into an Omega boutique. They will have stock. They may offer a discount. Compare that to a Submariner at list, if you can even get one, and the real-world value gap becomes impossible to argue. Number 2 does not just beat one Rolex. It beats the most coveted, most unattainable watch in the entire Rolex lineup. Number 2, Zenith Chronomaster Sport. The chronograph Rolex once had to borrow from, and still cannot match where it counts. In 1969, Zenith completed El Primero, the world's first integrated automatic high-beat chronograph. 5 Hz, 36,000 vibrations per hour. That frequency gives the Chronomaster Sport's central hand genuine 1/10 of a second jumps, not simulated, not approximated. You can see it move every time you press start. The Rolex Daytona's caliber 4131 operates at 4 Hz and displays to 1 second resolution. The El Primero 3600 gives you 10 times the visible precision. Then there is the survival story. When the quartz crisis nearly destroyed mechanical watchmaking in the 1970s, Zenith management ordered the El Primero tooling destroyed. Watchmaker Charles Vermeau defied the order and hid everything in the factory attic. When the mechanical revival came, that act of rebellion meant Zenith had the full lineage intact, unbroken from 1969 to today. Rolex used modified El Primero movements in the Daytona before eventually building in-house. The student borrowed from the teacher, and the teacher still runs faster. 41 millimeters, ceramic bezel, tricolor subdials in gray, blue, and anthracite, column wheel chronograph, display caseback, 100 meters of water resistance. The Daytona 126500LN lists around 15,000 euros and trades at 2 to 3 times that on the gray market. The Chronomaster Sport lists around $10,000 and is available at authorized dealers now. For a chronograph buyer who cares about what is happening inside the case, there is no contest. One watch left. It does not beat Rolex on a single dimension. It beats the Swiss at their own game, finishing, movement technology, and genuine value, while coming from a country the watch world spent decades overlooking. Number 1. Grand Seiko White Birch, SLGA Zo. Japanese craft, near quartz accuracy, and a movement that took 28 years to exist. Every Grand Seiko case starts with Zaratsu polishing, a technique inherited from Japanese sword making, applied by hand to each surface. The result is mirror flat facets with 0 distortion at the edges. Under a macro lens, Grand Seiko casework reveals geometry that most Swiss brands do not attempt at this price, because the process is too labor-intensive. The white birch dial is textured to echo the bark of white birch forests near Seiko's Shizukuishi studio in the mountains of Iwate. No 2 dials are identical. The applied indices and hands carry the same Zaratsu polishing as the case, catching and scattering light differently with every angle of the wrist. Under a macro shot, a Rolex date just is clean and well executed. The SLGA09 is in another conversation. Then there is the movement. Caliber 9 RA2 is spring drive, Seiko's proprietary technology that took 28 years of internal research and development to perfect. A mainspring winds the watch. A glide wheel regulates it, controlled by an electromagnetic brake governed by a quartz oscillator. Mechanical sole, near quartz precision. Accuracy is plus or minus 10 seconds per month. Rolex caliber 3235 is certified to -2 to +2 seconds per day. The spring drive is roughly 20 times more accurate. Power reserve is 120 hours, 5 full days, versus Rolex's 70 hours. The SLG A009 lists at $9,800, date just territory. For that money, you get case finishing that most Swiss brands charge significantly more to approach, a dial rooted in a specific Japanese landscape, and a movement technology that exists nowhere else on the market. Rolex earns its reputation every day, but the Grand Seiko White Birch makes you question whether the benchmark was ever really the ceiling. Like and subscribe for more.